executive session. Now we have Dan Straub for public comment.
Yeah, I'm Dan Straub. I'm a resident of Seneca County. And even though I heard your response or the response you got for where the catastrophe in East Palestine is going, I still have concerns to bring forward that I have. And there's an article from Long Island that I have here, and I have a copy for you. That cars being sent here from the facility there, in which discusses concerns residents have there and answers given about the rail cars coming from there to Sunny Farms landfill. So I have a copy that I'd like to give to you. And then next, I found a news station that is very concerned with where the soil and water from East Palestine is going to be trucked or sent by rail. They contacted Norfolk Southern, in which Norfolk replied to them that at the time they were working on which landfill will be taking the soil, with a promise to reply when Norfolk makes that decision. And this is our concern. So with our sources that we have, if I hear anything different than what was proposed to you, I will bring it to your attention. But I'm also concerned that at a council meeting on 2/21, Ben Nutter was asked a question about this. His reply was, quote, "We have no plans to accept that particular waste, but even if we did, rest assured that we are able to protect the environment from those very specific things that are that have been released over in East Palestine." He later said, quote, "We have no, it's unlikely that any of that material will be brought to this landfill here." Also stating, quote, "We are fully in compliance with state regulations." We feel as those remarks basically can leave it up in the air. No, define, or definite no, we won't take it. No, definite yes, that we are, or are we taking it or not? Basically, this could maybe be a possibility. So we're following our sources anyway. So yes, this is a huge concern to citizens, as they have assured us that they don't take toxic waste at Sunny Farms. So if this should be a very big concern for Seneca County Health Board, we once again ask for transparency. That's what we'd like to know. What are they putting in there? They've told us there's been no toxic waste, but yet he said they may or may not take it, and that they have the capacity of taking toxic waste. So is there toxic waste going there or not? We need transparency, and we expect the health department to take care of the citizens in Seneca County. And then I'd just like to add, I wish that health departments across this entire country would research and not just take what they have to, what they're being fed, because there was a lot of doctors and scientists that were shut down during the pandemic. And look what it has done to our country. So if health departments took more of a stand for all of us and research, it would make a big difference on the people that we live around and with. So anyway, thank you. And I don't know who I need to give this to.
Thanks, Dan. Next is Brenda.
Oh, just leave it here.
I'll take them.
Oh. All right, thank you for your time.
Hello, I'm Brenda Kuhn, and I'm also a concerned citizen of Seneca County. I'm really concerned about what happened in East Palestine, and I'm just don't want it to happen here. So I have a few questions. Do you have any protocols in place if a rail car caught on fire in Seneca County? So you do have,
That this is not for answering questions or taking comments and concerns.
so you won't answer my question?
I've answered that.
Okay, okay. And I guess I'd like to know if it would go to the township or would it, you know, the township that wherever the car was, you know, on fire or leaking. So I guess that's what my, you know, concern is. What happens if a car is sitting on Sunny Farm property? Are you called or the EPA? If it starts on fire while it's at Sunny Farms?
I can provide a general comment. This is all covered under the Emergency Management Agency's plans.
Okay,
So I would reach out to them first, because these things are all addressed in the county's emergency management plan.
you guys don't take part in any of that?
We are part of that. but
Okay.
They are the lead agency for the county.
Okay. I guess another question, what happens if that big mountain of trash gets caught on fire? Is our fire departments prepared to fight that battle? And is Sunny Farm certified in hazardous waste? Crickets.
Well, it's not for answering. They'll respond to you if you wrote your name down and address. They will respond to all
Okay.
the answers.
All right, well, thank
If
you for your
have to look
time.
them up, Look up the answers. for you.
Okay.
We don't know. I
Okay,
know that.
thank you.
Don Kuhn, that-
My name's Don Kuhn. I'm from Louisville. I'm just a concerned citizen here and a little observation I wrote down while I'm sitting here. The mission statement says, protect the environment. And that means everything. You can have tons of money and lots of toys, but if you don't have quality of life, it means nothing. I'm here to support board members who want to do the right thing. We don't need more trash from out of state. We have plenty of our own. If it's not hazardous, you keep it. And if it is hazardous, you keep it. But thank you for your service.
Next, we have Brian Easiak.
Thanks. I'm Brian Ezick from Sunny Farms. Wanted to address Brenda Kuhn. Sunny Farms is not authorized to accept hazardous waste. When we speak publicly, we have to be factual. It's important. So a lot of our times when we say things, we have to be measured and accurate. For example, if someone in the crowd wants to say that Sunny Farms refused to let people into the wetland to collect samples, that they can say whatever they want because they're in the public. However, we have to make sure we're saying the right thing. So when Mr. Nutter gets up and makes statements that says if the material from East Palestine was or was not hazardous waste and met the permit limits at Sunny Farms, we could accept it. He has to make a factual statement. As a vice president in the organization, I can tell you we will not accept any waste from East Palestine. It's not practical, for one thing, right? You can't take it and put it on a truck and drive it to our location. Many landfills in between. You can't put it on a rail yard. Sunny Farms is serviced by CSX, not Norfolk Southern. Those kind of things aren't practical, but from a public relations standpoint, that's not something we're going to touch. The health commissioner indicated that material is going to the US Ecology landfill, which is a hazardous waste landfill in Michigan. It's a good thing those folks in Michigan aren't saying, keep your waste, Ohio. We don't want it here in Michigan. That's how waste moves. It moves in ways that are different than not in my backyard. The liquid from that spill is going to Texas. It's a good thing there are these facilities there that can accept those materials. I wanted to address something that's come up in a couple of the past meetings. The citizens are concerned about their groundwater. Erica's presentation about the communication is interesting to me because the commissioner noted that the groundwater samples that were collected in the wells nearest Sunny Farms all showed no impact from the landfill. That's an important thing that the citizens need to hear. The surface water samples that were collected on December 3rd, and then again on December 19th, before the 29th board meeting in the wetland area, all also had no PCBs, no samples were above drinking water standards, and I'm looking at the Ohio water quality criteria for water supply use designation. None of those samples were above the primary standards that are not the aesthetics and taste requirements in water that are very similar to those samples in the wells. All reported concentrations were below. So the soil samples also meet the Ohio Voluntary Action Standards with no exceedances for residential use scenarios. So the samples that are collected immediately adjacent to the rail unloading building where all the rail cars sit and are always there, and those concerns about that, those samples show that those meet groundwater, drinking water quality standards, and those soil samples meet residential use requirements. Those are facts. That would make me as a resident feel pretty good about all these concerns and those kind of things. And that's the kind of information that I wish we could get out there more. That's it. That's all I wanted to address that. So East Palestine is not coming to Sunny Farms. We continue to not take hazardous waste. And we're interested in open communication. Thank you.
Next is Dan Teal.
My name is Dan Teal. I'm a resident of Seneca County. And I just wanted to say that the landfill should not continue to operate simply because that landfill is just huge enough. It's a very huge mountain over there. The smaller we keep it now, when that liner breaks, when it breaks, it's not, when it breaks, it's going to break sooner or later. It could be an earthquake or anything. But the liner on the landfill is the thickness of 2 credit cards, very thin. So with that mountain over there is very, very huge. It's big enough. We don't need it to make it any larger. When something happens, it might take some time for it to happen, but anything that man makes is going to break. When it happens, the smaller the mountain, the easier it is for us to handle. The bigger it is, the harder the problem to take care of it when it, when it leaks. But that liner is the thickness of 2 credit cards. That's it. That's not very thick. So it's nice to have a smaller problem. I don't care if we're talking about kids or anything. The smaller the problem, the easier it is to take care of. So we should not let them renew their license. We need them out. The landfill is big enough. If that's all it is construction material, and they say it's safe, then they should be able to handle it, take it somewhere else. But we've got enough. Thank you.
Next is Deb Teal.
Oh,
No,
we must have put my name down.
okay.
Sorry. Okay.
Next is Bill McGowan.
Thank you. I'm Bill McAllister. I live in Seneca County, and I want to look back in December, at the December 15th board meeting of the Health Department's board, and Ms. Goon read a letter from Sunny Farms. It was about a 3.5-page letter, and I want to read you one sentence from that letter. This is written by Sunny Farms. We understand that the board has hired a well-known and highly respected Ohio environmental lawyer, Joe Durham. To me, that if they are praising your former law firm, that is clear enough reason to change law firms, which you did last month. So I want to applaud you for making that change. And it can be mainly based solely on the fact that they were praising your former law firm. So my hat's off to you for taking that stand last month. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak?
Can I?
Can you sign in?
Mhm.
There's one up there. Can you put your name and address on?
Yeah. My name's Ashley Stahl and I live in Seneca County. We're about, me and my husband are about a mile from the landfill. Like about we've been living here for about 10 years now. About 4 years ago, I started noticing problems with our water. Obviously can't say if it's the landfill or not, but that's going to be your first concern living within a mile of the landfill. We ended up having our water tested with the health department. And I know it's not any of your guys's like decision or anything, but I do want to say that the paperwork that comes back on that, the results is very like, I don't appreciate it because there's no way of knowing, there's no like values to know what's abnormal, what's not normal. It literally just tells you the result and that's that. Like I have to do my own digging, which I mean, I have been, but my husband and I ended up getting our water tested privately prior to this. We paid to have a third-party tester and that was done in September of last year. We got the results in October. And just from October to the results we just got back, all of the numbers have increased that we can replicate that we have seen, you know, the test redone. Some things were different from test to test, but every single one of them was increased. And I do want to add that the other lab that we went with, theirs came back and it gave us categories of, you know, concerning, not concerning, detectable, not detectable. We had many things that came back as flagged. So it was green, that was good, not detected. There was blue that was detected, but not enforceable. Yellow was near enforceable, but not quite needing the EPA to jump in. Red was EPA. We had a handful that were yellow and many that were blue. Recommended to not drink our water. We have reverse osmosis, so we are okay to drink that, we were told, but as of right now, that is where we kind of stand. And it just amazes me to know that one lab can tell us, you know, don't drink your water, like you have some things that are flagging a little bit questionable there. And then we have another test that comes back, there is nothing abnormal. You can, you know, it's all good, drink your water, but like the other one clearly said, you know, the opposite. And there's no information to tell us to back it up on this new test from the health department. Which also I do want to say, like I said, we've lived here 10 years, literally just found out about the health department doing water testing for wells nearby the landfill last year. So I mean, the health department is great at sending out the leachate notice. You gotta, you know, check your leachate every year. Why cannot that be sent out as well to let people know that they do that free water testing? It at least gives us a ballpark estimate of people around. I pull records from, because it's a public record, I will pull records from the nearby neighbors and see like what their results are and stuff to compare. But I also do want to note that from people that I've talked to, there was variance in where the sample was taken. So I kind of feel like that kind of leaves an out for maybe an explanation of why things might be off. Some were taken in-house, some were taken outside. And I also lastly did want to note that I was at the board meeting that was in Fostoria. It was the December one. And Ms. Goon had said that, you know, Austin had tried to go to the landfill to take a water sample and they had denied him because of the wetlands, whatever. And they were waiting to resample, to wait for a professional sampler to go with him. I will tell you, he took my water results. So I don't know why he could do it at my house, but not at the landfill. I do know there was somebody in the vehicle with him, but that person never stepped out of the vehicle. Austin was the one to take our water samples. So I just think that there's a lot of shadiness going on that I, as a homeowner in this house, you know, in this county with 4 young children, I don't appreciate the shadiness. And everybody sees it. I'm not the only one. There's, you know, a whole group on Facebook that just, you know, we can all get together and voice our concerns and stuff. And just the amount of things I've seen on there is it's scary. I mean, I will say, I do not feel safe in Seneca County. I don't, living where I do. I know I've sent emails to all of you. I've sent letters to the editor and stuff. My concerns are out there, but you just don't feel like you're heard. Although I do want to say, I appreciate you guys, you know, with the intent to deny. I do feel like this board has more of a stance with the landfill and representing how we truly feel. So I do want to say thank you for that. I do feel more heard than we ever have with this board. So I think that's it, but just overall general, you know, I think there needs to be more done. I guess I do want to piggyback. So when you get those results, the health department just tells you, yeah, it's good. No, it's not, you know, but what, like, how do we know that? You know, we're just supposed to trust, you know, one person's, I think it's Laura that does the readings on it. I'm not super sure. But we're just supposed to trust that one person with saying that, you know, you're good to go or you're not. Like, I want to know why. I want to know the results and the ranges of when it's okay and when it's not. And I've been doing some reading on my own, obviously taken with a grain of salt. I'm not, you know, I wasn't born yesterday. I do know the internet has things that, you know, could not be factual on there. But in the research I've been doing, there are chemicals that were flagged on our water tests that really shouldn't be at the level that they should, you know, that's coming up on both of the tests that we got back. So it does make me concerned, and I will continue to be concerned. We'll not be drinking the water. It's such a problem when you have 4 young kids that they're in the bath playing. You have to worry about them, you know, drinking a little bit of the water. My daughter just did that the other day, and it made me sick to my stomach to know what could possibly be happening. So I just think that there's a lot left, you know, to be done. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done. So thank you.
Can I just ask you a question?
Yeah.
Just people who are listening, can you say who the third party you sent your water to in case someone else wants to send their water? You know the company?
Look, I think I have it pulled up. So it was National Testing Laboratories Limited. They're this was out of Cleveland, Ohio, is where the report came back from, but I believe we had to send the actual sample to somewhere in Michigan. Okay. Somewhere in Michigan. Thanks.
Is there anyone else for public comment?
I did not sign in.
You sign in.
Had trouble before about that.
I will sign in. It's Diane West. I am a Seneca County resident. There we go. Based upon what I've heard this evening and the previous meeting last month, I just have a couple comments, and I'm piggybacking off of the folks that just spoke because that was on my list. So you hit some of my topics. I'm kind of curious, and to my best of my knowledge, reading the meeting minutes from years past and watching videos, and my understanding from the residents that live over in the area directly, the last time a geology study was done, I believe, was before or around 2019. Knowing that if you go out and research earthquakes, which one of you gentlemen brought that up, okay, that's been brought up before over in Fostoria at the specific landfill meeting that we had. A gentleman spoke at length about the effects of earthquakes on landfills. My question is this: if you go out and research it, I believe 12 years ago, there was a earthquake of a 2.4 magnitude over in that exact area or very similar area. And we know a few months ago, there was a 2.5 earthquake over in that area. There is apparently a fault line that we are aware of. My question would be, is there or has there been, I don't believe, I haven't read, but are we doing another geology study on the landfill and the effects of the most recent earthquake that has occurred? That is my first question. My second question is, I'm hearing the concerns, rightfully so, on understanding test results. I live in a world of medicine, and many times we get test results from the doctor, and we question what it means. And we look at what normal may be, if they give you that, and is it L for low, H for high, but what does that mean, right? My question would be, I certainly appreciate the educational presentations that has been done, and tonight Erica did, thank you, as a learning tool for the public. Is there any way that we can do a presentation, perhaps our environmental division, where we can talk about water sampling? I would certainly think that, to me, logically, it makes a difference of, do we take it directly as it comes in from our wells? And that's where we take the water source. Do we take it after our reverse osmosis? Do we take it after at the kitchen sink where it's went through a Brita filter or other filters or reverse osmosis? I mean, those things I would certainly think impact the water testing quality and what it may or may not be a true test. I would also know if they could speak to that, okay? And the other thing is, what are they looking for? What are the results? What do, high level, what do those results mean? Certainly she's indicating her numbers are going up. I can certainly understand the concern, but are they going up still within normal limits? Are they going up because they're out of limits? Are they going up because it's a different lab? So there's different standards of what they consider the range. There's a lot of questions there. So I'm just asking, can we do it for the public, a presentation of education for them to understand water sampling, results, interpretation, where the samples collected from on your property, and why that can make a difference? And I will close. Oh, really? Because my time's up. It's not that Go on. My last question is this. At the last meeting, there was a change of attorneys and that, and I know a gentleman spoke of that tonight. My question is this. I know that there was concern about getting the information to the new legal counsel. And my understanding is, if we look back, this has been going on 15, 20 years. I mean, there's a lot of data, okay? So my question is this. I know that Commissioner Goon had concerns about a lot of information to get transferred, asking staff to help transfer that, and I understand that. It's been about a month or more now. My question is, has all the data from the landfill and the history been now transferred to our current council? Has that occurred? It's been a month. Well, I'm just making my statement. So an answer to that would be very nice to have that. Thank you. And I'm done.
Yes, I'm Jerry Platt. I'm a Seneca County resident, and my question would be, I would like to take off on Bill McAllister's inquiry about the attorney we fired and the timeline. Who hired him first? Was he an employee of this board and they hired him? Were they trying to buy some influence? Because I was at one meeting when we talked about giving him a license, and that attorney said, "Oh, I wouldn't recommend that at all." Isn't that strange that happened that way? And it seems that now they have the same attorney. Can we look at who hired who, when? Would be interesting.
Excuse me, who do you think that's the same term?
What?
The attorney that you got rid of.
Joe Durham.
No,
Yeah.
they don't have them.
Oh, I thought that's what.
No.
Oh,
No. that's-
They're not using it, but they praised it.
Oh, they praised it.
Oh, that's good.
I'm all wet.
Would it be possible to get a copy of
I mean, it's a it's a big document, so it's got separate, isn't it? And certain parts of it are not public record. Because they're protected information.
the parts that are public record, for the regards to the emergency management plan for the train, fires and that sort of thing, that concern came up. See if we can make available to public, the emergency management plan. To help what's
Right, but I would suggest though, going to the county EMA plan, that's the master plan. We're just one piece of that master plan, so you want the whole picture, you look at the county EMA plan.
My next thing would be, is it possible to have a presentation at the March meeting from the environmental division on the testing process? For water? Because as a board member, I'd like to know kind of what that looks like when the health department goes out and collects the samples, gets the tests, and gets those results back. What does that look like and how do you?
If we do, can we make sure that we'll like post it, like, hey, we're gonna have an educational session on our water testing and we're
I
gonna
mean,
have.
we could actually do it as separate sessions, so it's, and that's
Okay.
posted on the website, it's available for anybody to view more time.
I think that'd be good.
My next thing, in regards to the building construction, I mentioned as this earlier, it came up in the building construction process. You know, you meet with the staff and hear their concerns. In the process that they approved of the changes internally, has that had like approval through the fire department? Has it been an egress study? That sort of thing?
Are you related to our building?
Correct.
It's not under our control, it's a county owned building, the county is.
Okay.
So we have no involvement in that.
Has there been any concerns expressed this far in your conversation with staff in regards to egress and those sort of things?
Oh, sure, I mean, we've talked about that several times.
Have we made any actions on that to the commissioners?
Yes, and they made modifications inside the building.
I'm just wondering if this was a private conversation or,
Oh.
because we're having a hard time hearing it. If you don't speak up like that. Way loud.
So my
And
question
we're-
was regarding the construction and the ongoing construction inside the health department, where there's being the modifications made. It's a county-owned building, but was asking about egress studies inside internally. That was the conversation. And my final question for you, doing this, has all the information to the new legal council, where we stand on transferring that.
So we met via phone earlier this month. Had a big long to-do list. All those items have been completed. They were completed the same day. That's certainly not all the records. It was the records they requested at that time. The only one that we have that's outstanding is something we have to get off the flash drives then. And that's copies of everything that's been submitted previously in relationship to a public records request.
Can I ask just real quick, all these questions that everybody's asked and for answers, when will we get those answers? How will we get those answers?
Well, we don't get, nobody provides us with contact information. So we can't send the answers back to
Well, I
the
was just
individual
wondering,
who asked
because
the
at the end,
question.
you say, we'll get the answers for you. So what do you need? Do you need everybody's email address or?
Yeah.
Say it at the next meeting.
Or, yeah, would you be able to tell us at the next meeting? maybe?
Yeah.
In the past, we always answered all the questions, provide an email address, you send an email this, but you don't provide her the information.
Well, it would be nice, since they asked the questions, I guess, if at the next meeting, since the majority of
Wouldn't
us
it be
will probably get that those answers, you know, so we all know the answers. Because we're here because of these questions. So if we could all just get the answers maybe at the next meeting.
I think in the spirit of being transparent and working with the community, it would be nice if the answers, because people will watch the video and hear the questions. And certainly it's important that the people here get the answers back, but I think in the spirit of being transparent as much as the board can be, it would be nice to answer those at the next meeting where it's recorded, so that the people that are wanting to see the follow-up to those questions, I'm sure there's other people, for example, they're getting their wells tested and such. It would be nice for everybody, the public, to hear the answers. I'm just saying, to work with communication, transparency, support from the public. I just think that would be a better way of handling the answers. Just my opinion.
The piece that would really help us is to have those questions in writing.
We just gave them, we should be
You
able
have
to.
one, you have recorded.
Right, I know that, but I'm saying we can be better prepared if you know what question you're gonna ask. If you could give it to us in writing.
Like just
ahead of
submit it in
time,
an
we could
email
actually
beforehand or.
I'm just gonna say, for some people, the questions don't come up until they hear something that sparks the question of the night. I know for me, that's a lot of times I hear something and wait till the end just to ask for better clarification. So I'd certainly appreciate ahead of time questions, but sometimes questions do come up as a result of we wait till the end of the meeting to hear, reply to something we've heard. So I certainly respect that.
Anyone else? And motion we adjourn. Or I can't take that. If anyone would like to make a motion.
Right, that-
Thank you.